What are you passionate about? That's the question I was asking myself in 2012 when I was already a college professor, but I was no longer sure if I was still passionate about teaching. You see, I had migrated from Jamaica to Vancouver, Canada, and it had taken me 7 years to become a full-time tenured professor at the college where I now teach. And during that time, I had lost some of the sparkle. So I was feeling tired. I was feeling despondent. I was feeling jaded. And during the time that I was asking myself that question, I found the answer when I met one of my students. His name was Jordan Kornberger. Now, the first time I met Jordan, it was the first day of the semester. I stepped into my Wednesday night college public speaking class, and he was seated at the back, and he was wearing the college baseball jersey, and he had the baseball mitt on the desk. And when I asked students to introduce themselves, because it was the first day of class, he went to the front of the class and he said, "Hello everyone, I'm Jordan Kornberger and I effing love baseball." And when he said that, the entire class got whiplash. They turned around to look at me because they wanted to see my expression. So I gave him my most stern teacher look. You know, the look where your eyebrows almost touch your hairline? Yeah. The look that says, "I'm not impressed." Well, I gave him that look. And when I realized that he wasn't backing down and he wasn't about to apologize, I said, "So you love it that much?" Because, you know, I had to save face, right? And he responded, and he was doing this with his mitt. And he said, "I do." And then I said, "Well, we're going to have to keep the language PG in this class." And he said, "Okay." But when I walked away from that first class, he had me thinking. Because I noticed he didn't say, "My name is Jordan Kornberger and I play baseball for the college." And he didn't say, "My name is Jordan Kornberger and I've been playing baseball for a number of years." He said he loved, okay, well, he did say effing love, but he said he loved baseball. And that stood out for me because I realized that he was telling us who he was. And he risked alienation because, seriously, who says that in the first class? Who drops the F-bomb in the first class without knowing what kind of instructor they're dealing with? But he wanted us to know who he was. And that was the first thing Jordan taught me. He taught me that when you have passion, it's a part of your identity. And I found that interesting because I once heard Oprah say that Maya Angelou said that when people tell you who they are, you must believe them. She said, don't wait for the 29th time when they tell you, but the first time they tell you who they are, you must believe them. And he told us who he was, and I believed him. And he confirmed his love for baseball as the semester progressed. Because for the first speech, he spoke about baseball. For the second speech, he spoke about baseball. And I stopped him and I said, you need to talk about something else because you're going to get a C if you keep talking about baseball. And he said that was okay. I said, you're okay with getting a C? And he said yes, because there's nothing else he wanted to talk about. So I thought, okay. So for the third speech, I thought he would switch things up a little bit. And he said he did. He spoke about racism in baseball. And I said to him, that's still baseball. We need to hear something novel or challenging because it is affecting your grade. And then it came time for the fourth speech, which was the impromptu speech. So for the impromptu speech, you don't get a chance to prepare for it. You come to class, there's a basket with folded bits of paper. You choose a piece of paper, and whatever is on your paper, you have to talk about it. You're given 3 minutes to go outside, prepare your speech. In 3 minutes, yes. And then you come in and you talk. So when he picked his word, I was so eager because I thought, finally, he'll get a chance to stretch himself. So I peeped over and I said, what word did you get? And he said, break fast. And I thought, okay, let's see what you do with that. He went outside, he came back in, and then he said, let me tell you why breakfast is the most important meal. And then he looked at me and said, for every baseball player. And that day, I remember thinking, how much does this guy really love baseball? Because I thought of the 20-year-old me, because he was 20. And I thought, what could I have loved that much that I would have risked my grade? Because he was on his way to a C and he knew it. And yet he refused to talk about anything else because he said he loved it that much. And so I ask you the same question. What do you love that much that you would even risk your grade? Because I know most of the students I have now, if I say to them, that's going to get you an A or that's going to get you a C, they all choose the one that will get them the A. Who wouldn't? Right? So for the fifth speech, which was a passion speech, I don't have to tell you what he spoke about. Baseball. But plot twist, he didn't talk about why he felt passionate about it. He didn't talk about why we needed to find a passion. He spoke about what you need to do without in order for your passion to grow. And I was blown away because people don't usually talk about the negative aspects, right? But he spoke about the sacrifices, what you need to do without in order to fan the flame of your passion. He spoke about the need to go without sleep sometimes, to go without parties, to go without friendships, to go without the things that you would want to have. And I think I was impressed because up until then, I had never heard that perspective. So that led me to doing a bit of research when I discovered Angela Lee Duckworth's work on grit. She said that in order to achieve, we needed grit, which was a combination of perseverance and passion. And that's the second thing that Jordan taught me about passion. Passion will be tested, and you will have to persevere because it is not a smooth road. And it makes me think about radio personality Miss Kitty. She always says, people see the glory, but they don't know your story. And it's so true, because we see the glory, especially now during the Olympics. We see Andre Degrassi and we say, yay! We see Shelly Ann Fraser. We see Elaine Thompson and we see the glory. But here's what we don't see. We don't see the times when they've been in pain. We don't see the times when they've been injured. We don't see the times when they've been disappointed. Well, sometimes we do, but we don't see the behind the scenes story. And he made me aware of that. And that made me realize it was okay that I was at that point where I did not feel happy about teaching. And that normalized for me how I was feeling at that time in my life when I didn't feel passionate about teaching. I realized that I needed to dig deep and I needed grit. And I was so impressed with what he said that at the end of the speech and the end of the class, I told him that I was going to find him in 10 years. I was convinced that he was going to be great. And I said, I'm going to find you in 5 years. Wherever you are, I'm going to stalk your IG. I'm going to find your manager. I'm going to do whatever. But I'm going to ask you to come and talk to my public speaking class because I'll be here in 10 years. And I want you to come and talk to my public speaking students. And he looked at me and he said, you want me to talk about public speaking? I was like, duh, no. I want you to talk about passion. Because your passion is such an example that I know is going to take you far. And I was sure that it would have. Now that was fall 2012. So the next semester, winter 2013, when I stepped into my Wednesday night public speaking class again, I saw 4 guys dressed in baseball jerseys. Once again, obviously they played for the college. And I looked at them and one of them said, Jordan sent us. And I said, Jordan sent you? He told you to take this class? And they said, yeah. And I said, did Jordan tell you it was an easy class? And one of them said, no, he told us you're a hard marker. But he said you would help us to learn to tell our story, and we needed to take this class. And that floored me because Jordan wasn't an A student, nor was he even a B+ student. And I thought, that's interesting. Anyway, that was winter 2013. Summer 2013, I didn't teach because it was my non-teaching semester. And when I stepped into my public speaking class again for the fall of 2013, once again, there were 4 students, 4 guys dressed in baseball jersey again. And when I looked at them, one of them said, Jordan sent us. And I said, did Jordan tell you it was an easy class? And he said, no, but if Jordan got through it, you'll get through it too. I said, okay. Then came winter 2014. And once again, when I stepped into my class, 4 guys again in baseball jerseys. And I just looked at them and I said, Jordan? And they said, yeah, Jordan sent us. Next semester was my non-teaching semester, summer 2014. So when I stepped into my fall 2014 class, I was expecting to see 4 guys dressed in the college baseball jersey again. But this time I saw 3 girls in college gear, but I didn't know what sport they played. So I looked across at them and I said, and one said, Jordan sent us. I said, I figured, but what do you play? And they said they played softball. I said, but Jordan, she was like, we're all friends. And Jordan said we needed to take this class, so we're here. And at that point, I thought, this guy is a leader. And that was the third thing Jordan taught me. Passion inspires leadership. Because when you start with your why, people follow you. Not your what, but your why. As Simon Sinek tells us, leaders start with their why, and Jordan's passion made him a leader. Now that was fall 2014. And in about week 6, when I went to the class, there was this strange silence that I didn't understand. I mean, it was week 6, and by week 6, students know each other, and they're usually a lot more talkative. So when I stepped into the class and there was silence, I wasn't sure what to make of it. But I quickly went to the front of the class, I put my work bag down, I opened it, I took out my binder with my notes, I took out my public speaking textbook, I took out my whiteboard markers, and just as I was about to begin speaking, I thought I heard a sob. So I took a quick glance around. But I didn't see anything. So I gathered the books, and just as I was about to begin speaking, I heard a sob. This time I knew I wasn't mistaken. So I stepped back and I looked around. And as I'm looking around, I see the softball girls. And I look at them, and one is looking teary-eyed. So I mouth, "Are you okay?" And she shakes her head. And then I say, "Do you want us to talk?" And she says, "Yes." So I give the class some work, and I say to them, "I'll soon be back. I'm just gonna have a quick meeting with these ladies." And we go outside. I close the door behind me and I lean against the door. And I say, "What's wrong?" And I wait for a few minutes as they huddle together, embracing each other. And as I wait, I hear the whoosh of the elevator as it ascends. I hear the doors open. I hear the doors close. And then I hear the footsteps, the horrid footsteps of the students who must have been late for class. I hear the murmur of the professor next door as he's lecturing to his class. And I wait. And then they tell me a tale. A tale of a night that started happy and ended sad, with Jordan dying at the end of the night. And as I stand there and I listen, I try to come to terms with what I'm hearing. And all I can remember is the last day when I saw him, when I said, "You're going to be great one day, and I'm going to find you." After we finished talking, we went inside. I finished teaching the class. And at the end of that class, I went in search of Jordan's coach because I wanted to write a tribute to Jordan. And I needed the coach to give me a little bit of information to help me to fill in the blanks. And when I learned that he had just gotten 3 scholarships to play ball in the US, I found myself weeping for the young man who I never really knew, but had taught me so much about what passion looked like. In his life, he taught me about passion. And in his death, he still taught me about passion. Because after I wrote the article, his mom reached out to me. And I was curious about when he discovered that passion. And I did an interview with her. And I'm just going to share with you 1 minute of the interview.
And I remember being in the chiropractor's office, and Jordan was probably about 3 years old. Hadn't started playing baseball yet because I refused to put my kids in t-ball. And so he was really getting excited about playing and going to school and stuff. And we were there for, I think, his older brother's knees. Mm-hmm. And the chiropractor said to Jordan, because he was such a cute kid, was like kibitzing with him and stuff, and was asking him, "So do you play baseball?" And Jordan's face just lit up, and he stood up proud and put his hands on his hips and said, "I'm a catcher just like my big brother and my big sister and my mom before me." Yeah. And from that moment on, he was a catcher.
And how old was he? About how old?
Maybe 3.
You see, Jordan also taught me that finding your passion was a decision. Sometimes people say, well, you're either born with it or you're not. True. Sometimes you are born with an innate ability, and it's something in your genes, as it seems to have been with Jordan. But it can be in your genes, and you not make that decision to play professionally. Because from talking to his mom, I gathered that they all loved baseball. But he's the one who said, I want to be, I am going to be. And that's the 4th thing he taught me. That following your passion is a decision. And you know, at the end of the interview with Jordan's mom, Ray Kornberger, it occurred to me that the student had become the teacher, and the teacher, the student. And so I want to thank Ray for being kind enough to share Jordan with me, and for sharing all of those pictures of Jordan with us. And so before I go, I want to ask you the same question that I asked myself in the fall of 2012. What are you passionate about?